Twin Bill, where you can get your fill of hosts Jason and Marcus talking about movies and stuff. You know you never can get enough. A twin is two people who are related. Twin Bill. This season is Razzie Mania. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Twin Bill, the podcast. There we go. I like it. I like it. Uh, DJ Khaled. I don't like that in my head. But anyway,
Another one.
another, yes, how appropriate. Yes, the show where me and Marcus talk about a Razzie nominated film. How have you been, Marcus, in this week post Jazz Singer?
Yeah, been okay. Had a little bit of rain in San Diego, which it's pretty rare.
Yeah, because I live in Los Angeles for the viewers at home, and I was driving from San Diego to Los Angeles. It was raining in San Diego, and it was warm and sunny by the time I got out of my car. So there you go, California weather for you.
Yeah.
And then I just want to briefly mention, you can talk about something you've been watching too if you have anything, but no pressure. But I'm a bit of a horror classic kick. I watched Trilogy of Terror. I don't know if you're familiar with that movie. It's the Karen Black anthology movie where she's in all three of them.
Heard of it, never seen it.
It's excellent. And then I watched uh, a movie I wanted to watch in our old format, but we didn't get to it. Exorcist 3, aka Exorcist Legion. That movie is amazing. I don't know what talks about that movie. That movie's great. You should watch it. It's also a much better George C. Scott police movie than The Formula. But he plays a cop in both. Yeah, yeah.
For me, I'm focusing on Oscar films I can watch, trying to watch as many nominees as I can. Next on the list is it's kind of a silly title if you just think about the title alone, but it's a very serious topic. The Lost Bus. Uh, where's my bus? But it's about a bus trying to get through the fires and stuff. Just nine for special effects.
Get through the fires like in California, or
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's actually based on a true story, but it's set in a during real events, the nasty wildfires.
yep. I was technically in the middle of those on a geographic level, but not in a my house is on fire level. Anyway, what a transition. How about some fires come from bombs, but what if
Yeah.
there was a bomb that made you nude? Transition. That's right. We're talking about the Nude Bomb. Uh, Thanks to the very helpful title, this is
Yeah.
a uh, we'll get into it. It is and it isn't a direct sequel to the Get Smart television series that was very popular in the early '70s with and yeah. So let's break it down with the IMDb factoids. So this movie was directed by Clive Donner. Are you familiar with Clive Donner at all?
I know the name, but I couldn't think of anything he did.
So my experience with Clive Donner is he directed a uh, '60s comedy romp called "What's New Pussycat." It's a
Yeah.
it's kind of an overloaded mess of a movie, but it has Peter O'Toole, Peter Sellers, and Woody Allen in it, all at the peak of their relative powers. And the interesting thing about that movie is that Woody Allen wrote the screenplay, and when Woody Allen watched the movie, there was like all this stuff that was added in that Woody Allen didn't like, and and I agree with Woody Allen, it was bad. And Woody Allen swore he would never write a movie that he wasn't directing ever again. And I
Nice.
think he stuck to that for like 40 years and like 70 movies.
Until he got rightfully canceled for his doings.
I mean, he technically worked for a couple decades after he got canceled, but yeah,
Oh, well, he got canceled for good with the whole uh
yeah, that ruined it. The different podcast. Listen to PBS or something. I don't know. Yeah. I was gonna say not PBS, NPR. So they're similar though. All right. On that note, this movie has three co-writers because it's a troubled comedy film. Uh, One writer was uh, Bill Dana, whose big claim to fame was that he would go on the Steve Allen show as a he was Hungarian Jewish by birth, but he played a wacky Bolivian man,
Nice.
and he's actually in the movie. We'll get into this how the characters kind of blend together, but he's the one whose name is not Jonathan Livingston Seagull or something. That was a joke in the film. It was very good. Right.
He's on. He's on. Oh, he's the one who it's one of the funnier gags in the movie, the ambulance or morgue.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's him. It's
I just don't remember the gag, but I believe it. But I wasn't in and out of this movie, but yeah.
and then he hums songs that are his name. He's like in a he's like a he has informative details, but the bad guys get to him before Max and Agent 22 can get to him, but he's not dead, he's just hard to communicate with.
Hmm. Okay. We'll talk more about the plot in a second. Uh,
Okay.
another writer on the movie. Uh, his name is Arn Sultan. What a name! That's the Sultan of SWAT. That's what I call him. All I know about him is he wrote on the TV show. And the more interesting co-writer, uh, Leonard Stern. Okay, fine. Can you guess what children's game Leonard Stern co-invented?
Shoots and ladders, I don't know.
Mad Libs. And then tie into this show, he was a co-writer on The Jazz Singer. Pause for effect. The Danny Thomas 1952 Jazz Singer, which we didn't even address on our show because neither of us had seen it. But there was a
Yeah.
third jazz singer. I don't know how that worked or if it was good or basically how much blackface was there in the Danny Thomas Jazz Singer. That's the lingering question in the air. And then the Nude Bomb was produced by a man named Jennings Lang, and he produced disaster movies like Airport 1975 and Earthquake. But his biggest disaster, the Nude Bomb. Oh, he said what?
Disaster's a bit strong, but we'll get to our
I
thoughts
mean,
later, I guess.
if you're a movie producer and you call your movie bomb, I mean that's got to at least be in the subconscious. And then the weirdest part about this movie, well, aside from the movie or whatever, but is that the music is by, I don't know if you saw this, Lalo Schifrin, who, if there was a Hall of Fame for film composers, he would be in it. Most famously, of course, did the Mission Impossible theme. And the music was fine. I didn't like the opening number. I don't know if he wrote that. He might not have, but you remember that song? It's like, I need you, and there you
The
are.
fine, it's fine music. It's a Bond-like, so it's emulating what that they're parodying. But I didn't like. I thought it was bizarre. It says "Can you believe" over and over again in the credit. Visually, the credits were bizarre.
I mean, it is his catchphrase from the show, which he does in the movie too. Would you
Yeah.
would you
Oh,
believe the Swiss Guard? Would you believe two guys with peanut shooters? My brilliant Don Adams impression.
well, it doesn't. I assume it gets smart and pop up in pink background.
No, they tried to. This movie has a big problem, which we'll get into, which is where it wants to be a James Bond movie, but it also wants to be a mediocre episode of Get Smart, and it kind of does both, and it kind of does neither. Mostly does the boring episode of Get Smart, but we'll get more into that with the plot. Let's talk about the cast. There's not much to talk about with Don Adams. He's the only actor we've covered in this podcast who, in real life, sounded like and acted like the character from his movies. I don't know if it's just because he's a silly guy, but it's like perfect casting. Never really did anything else in Hollywood, and then that one character. And then yeah, a lot of whatever cast on here, but uh, Agent 22, who is basically the surrogate for Agent 99, who did not want to do this movie from the TV show. Her actress name is Andrea Howard. She's kind of wealthy and retired from acting to sell real estate in the 90s. So
Good for her. Because
yeah,
I just kind of flat in this, but
there's a lot of flat in this movie. Even the costumes. All right. And then yeah, Dana L. Carr as the chief. The
did you
ball.
have you ever seen this thing?
It's been a while, but yes, I saw this thing.
He has a very small role in that where he plays a fake FBI agent. It's actually critical to making sure that they get away with their grift by the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. The movie has a lot of incidental characters who are double con or whatever you call it. Yeah. And then yeah, we'll get into the plot, I guess. But his character clumsily becomes the inside man. So lazy, but whatever. He was also on MacGyver. Fun fact.
Who was on MacGyver?
Dana Elcar, the chief, who of course was not the chief on a TV show because this movie has almost no continuity with that.
Yeah. Did you recognize the German delegate in
No,
the UN? That's Richard Sanders, who played Les Nessman on WKRP in Cincinnati.
was he wearing his glasses in the movie?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't
And
recognize it at
doing
all.
a okay German accent, not remarkable.
Interesting. Respect. And then on I literally this guy could have played the chief because he looks a lot like him. But did you at all recognize Norman Lloyd as Carruthers, the slightly more articulate
The
controlling
Invention
character?
Man. No.
He was in Dead Poet Society and he's a character actor. The weird thing about Norman Lloyd is he died like 3 years ago or something like that, and he was 106 years old. So he did an interview where I read where he's like, "Yeah, I was playing tennis with Charlie Chaplin. That was pretty cool. It's very old Hollywood man. Yeah,
Hmm.
looks just like the guy who plays the chief. It's bizarre, but casting, but yeah." And then the only holdover, according to my research from the Get Smart TV show, I do not recognize him. He's not a very good actor. Robert Carvelos played Larrabee. He's just a big guy in a suit. Didn't seem like a very funny character, but yeah.
He had the funniest scene in the movie. I'll explain when we maybe later, but in my
Yeah.
opinion,
Okay, if I miss it, because I am gonna miss it, but you can remind me. Well, yeah, we'll try to do a jokes, best jokes in the movie thing that I remember at the end, I guess. And then just because I didn't want to mention him, but he does play the bad guy, Vittorio Gas.
get the gas, man.
I don't know, my accent changed into like Minnesota or something. Vittorio Gassman, Vittorio Gustman as I hate this name, Norman Saint Sauvage, because I guess he's into fashion. He doesn't look like a fashion designer very much. He doesn't act like one, but he's the guy who invents the Nude Bomb because he wants to sell fashion to naked people. What a great idea!
Sounds boring, and folks, it's boring on screen.
By the way, I couldn't nail down any like famous parts, but apparently he's one of the most famous Italian neorealism actors ever. He worked from like the 50s all the way till the year 2000. He directed too.
Uh,
I'm a gas man.
very prolific, but I don't recognize any of these roles.
Yeah,
These,
get one of those Wikipedia things where they have like a collage of photos. Usually it's for the big celebrities. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I want to mention just for the cast, there's like a billion random people in pantsuits, in gray pantsuits, hanging out what are clearly sets of the control center. That's just so drab.
Which control center?
Just in general, the base. They spend a lot of time at the base. It's like various control
Oh, well, yeah.
center
It's a lot of
rooms.
people in this crew, which is kind of like the kind of like the show.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. It is like the show, but it was just got very boring to watch because it's telling characters apart and motivation, which we'll get into right now. Because let's talk about the I don't know what to call this. Let's just call it the film reader criteria for now. I'll come up with a better name for it. But so let's talk about the ad campaign. This is interesting because I had different thoughts about each part of the tag campaign. I sent you a list of taglines. Like 90% of them were like "Get smart again" or "Get smart is back" or "See Get smart in a movie theater." I thought that was the most logical part of the advertising campaign. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, definitely building on this nostalgia. Um, yeah, it's logical.
And then the trailer was okay. They kind of just do like a James Bond trailer, kind of like the movie where it's like we're doing a James Bond movie, but oh, it's funny. Remember? Whoa, look out! This is but kind of boring trailer. Anything to add?
No, I agree. It's kind of under delivers in that way, and it's out of all the movies we've seen, it's not the I don't spoiler how I feel about this movie. It's not the worst movie we've seen. I don't think for the Razzies, but it feels the most like an episode of a TV show. Any of the episodes movies we've
Yeah,
seen.
and well, as I'll discuss, it structurally becomes a TV show more than a movie, which is weird for a movie. But and then the poster is insane. Well, it's not insane, but this is a this is another big problem with the movie, which we haven't fully discussed. Is uh, the movie is called the Nude Bomb, and so there's an implication built into the premise and like the last shot of the movie. It's like here and there where it's like, oh no, if I go to this movie, I'm going to see so many boobs and butts. It's gonna be crazy. And the poster, it's like the dress is like coming off in front of Maxwell Smart, and he's like shocked.
Or he's in the dress almost basically, and
Yeah, which is sort of a plot thing because for one of those things that's supposed to be funny but just sort of like unfolds boring is that the bad guy's hideout is a dress with a giant zipper. It's like
I get it was a zipper. I addressed. I did see the zipper, of course, but
the size of a dam or whatever. But so this movie, it's already doing the James Bond but not thing, and then it's doing like this whole, oh, you can't see all this nudity. Well, it's gonna be crazy, and then the movie just does not pay that off. It was all
well, they
odd.
they have four nude bombs going off, including one, well, not including the ending, so it's five total. So I mean, that is a payoff of sorts, but it's not as nude as I guess you're wanting. You wanted some hardcore nudity,
I mean,
but
if you call me the nude bomb, I mean, it's kind of like if you, I don't know, it's not a direct expectation comparison, but if you're watching like an '80s party movie, like you're expecting a certain amount of boobs, and this movie's promising, a bomb that causes nude. Do you expect to see it? It's just a weird. I think it's just a weird premise for a movie. But yeah, but on the pitch level, it's fine because it sounds adult, but they know how to use it in the movie proper.
it's
Uh,
just trying to go. It's like sequel. We usually see with sequels, but I could see with a film adaptation from a show is trying to go bigger than the show. So
I guess that's one
they're
way to
gonna
do it.
a weapon to that level on any of the episodes of Get Smart.
That's true. Yeah, I think the poster retroactively gets hurt by the movie more than vice versa, but or, if that makes sense. But yeah, uh, yeah. So just I guess general notes on the characters. Like I mentioned, uh, this movie like was like really strict on like these are control agents, so they all wear pants, suits, kind of look the same, kind of act the same. Not a lot of individuality in the characterization.
To be fair, in James Bond movies, they all wear suits.
Yeah, but I would argue that they managed to mix in more colorful things. Like the Bond girl is not in MI6, and the bad guy is more of a developed world of cadre of characters. Just a little color in this movie. That's all I'm saying. A little color in the characters.
Yes.
It's arguable, I guess. If you really like, well, we'll talk about the plot. It's like it's one thing if you like spy movies. Usually, you like well done spy movies with twists and turns. This movie doesn't do that either, but that isn't. You're right. If it was more like that, it would make sense to have spies and not wacky characters. Uh, the dialogue is it's not the worst dialogue we've seen in a Razzie film, and some of the jokes they didn't make me laugh, but I was like, "Oh, it's kind of clever." But this movie is so exposition heavy due to the spy stuff and the waiting around, and I got kind of zoned out on it. I thought it was pretty bad.
Uh, I thought it was okay. It gets pretty. The dialogue gets pretty. Is they try to be snappy with it to make it funny. Um, I guess now I should bring it up. My the only scene I laughed at out loud. You're not gonna be too impressed. Kind of dumb, but it's after the UN meeting where the nude bomb goes off, and he's finally convinced that the nude bomb's real. Max is, and he's driving with Larrabee back to his base.
Hmm.
Larrabee's driving him, and then Larrabee goes on this whole thing about the way to solve the problem. Solve the problem is to let the new bombs go in and everyone dresses as food. And that was funny the way Larrabee talked and he said, remember the Bible, the Garden of Eden, they were figs. That was food. And then
Yeah, I remember
breaks down.
that. Not to interrupt you too much, but yeah, I think they could have done a better job of I don't know, kind of buried in stuff I didn't like, but that's kind of funny. The funniest part of my movie, I'll just say it now because I don't want to come up, is at the end they have that big fight scene in the hideout. And there's a clone machine, so Maxwell Smart figures out like, hey, I could clone myself, and there's more me's. And then while he's doing this, one of the clones is like a short person child, Maxwell Smart, and then Maxwell
Yeah.
Smart sort of kicks him back into the machine to fix the clone. It's like at least that was like a clever setup that someone did. And,
Well, yeah, I got the joke and other like things like the stapler phone and the desk that drives and all. I get the joke. I guess I found it funny, but I wasn't laughing. I was just,
yeah,
I get it.
it's just like the movie does a really bad job on an artistic level of like I don't know using cinematography and other filmmaking tools to really I don't know make the things land. It's hard to describe. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's talk about the structure of this film. Like I said, this is gonna be disappointing very quickly. But so do you remember what the opening image of the film is? It's more of a sequence than an image, really. But I mean, aside from I guess that does count the James Bond song with the lady and the Maxwell Smart. But
Yes, 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 yes. So this breaks the, well, it's not a record quote per se, but it's the shortest time from, I don't know, the main crux of the plot, reaching the main crux of the plot from the beginning of the movie, because usually there's more of a setup of like
mhm.
his role in a conflict. He he's presumably in another mission which involves being on a plane with a, I'm on a plane with a bunch of killers or something. And then they do the skydiving bit because he's in a plane literally, and then getting a call from Chief on his shoe phone, and he says, "Take care of the killer, take care of the killer, and get back to base." And then they do the skydiving.
Well, he does that joke where he answers the phone. He's like, "I'll take this outside," and he jumps out of the plane. That's kind of clever on its own. On its own.
You look good, I guess. It wasn't
Well,
particularly funny, right?
yeah, I thought it was kind of flat, but it does fit the James Bond thing because that's every James Bond movie. James Bond is in the middle of a case that's not the plot of the movie, at least directly. So it's like we got this other thing with the plane with some action to set up the James Bondness of Maxwell Smart. Yep.
It, it's the surreal humor tone of the movie where his parachute breaks and it says, "I'll be down in 2 minutes. Would you believe 2 seconds?" And then there's no like wacky changing physics that he's okay. He just falls and then he's in his suit walking around like normal. Next scene.
Yeah, it's very sitcom-y, which I will address many times in this review. But and I was gonna say something. No, no, if I think of it, whatever. Uh, oh yeah, well yeah, because usually in a screenplay structure, you see the character in their ordinary world before the story starts. But I guess kind of like James Bond, this movie does not really bother with like personal life or call to action. He's basically on the job as an agent from the beginning to the end.
Yes.
There's no real transition to be like, oh, I got to go back to control. You know, I love being at home, but I can't do it. There's nothing like that. Like, yeah, yeah.
It's very very silly setup. If you did want to break it down psychologically, he's like delusions of grandeur because it's views himself as a secret agent. He can never break out of it, kind of thing almost. Um,
Yeah.
but we just have to carry on. I guess the show was kind of similar, where it's not really about his ever really about his personal life,
Well, the
away
show,
from.
as we'll get into, the show had a much easier thing because he was married to his partner on the force, so the emotion was sort of tied into the cases and their survival and their relationship. This movie did not
Even
want to do
that,
that.
he's like he hints at the ending of them being together at the end, in the beginning, when he says, "I never fool around before a case. I rarely fool around before a case, never on a case, but often after a case."
Well, yeah, that's the only through line I'm gonna get to right now. Is the in the movie you're always implying that what does the character need to change in order to be better in life and win? And the only thing that really changes and is implied in this movie is that yeah he wants to hook up I think with anyone kind of, but it ends up being Agent 22, his new partner, and she's kind of into it too in like a loose sense. I don't know. This movie's kind of silly with its interpersonal relationships, but
Well, one of their first scenes together, she says, I really want us to be friends," and then
and he's kind of resistant to it, but kind of not. But yeah, I guess there's obviously some tension because it's a new partner. The movie does not do the like typical buddy cop thing where it's like the partners hate each other and nothing that detailed this kind of movie. So yeah, the one thing that structure does exist in this movie a little bit is, what pulls him into the story. I mean, structurally he's still an agent regardless, but the what's his character name?
who?
Saint Saint Sauvage is working with Chaos to distribute the Nude Bomb.
The
So
chaos
for
was on the original show, correct?
yes, Control versus Chaos was the central theme of the sitcom.
And it's a twist, but then it doesn't really I end up not really caring that he's a there's he you see Gaspin throughout early in the film as Nino Salvatore as a one arm, one-legged guy with an eye patch,
Right.
and that's a clone of Saint Sauvage or vice versa.
Wow. That look. I mean, I know he's zoned out. That's my fault as a viewer, but yeah, I did not realize there was like any cloning at all. I mean, it makes sense for the ending, but I just thought it was him because he didn't do much as a clone or a person or whatever. Yeah.
You don't. Okay, I guess you can miss anything in a film, but they're arguing at across the table, and then Savage, well, I guess he's always been Savage, uh, kills him and takes off his mask and says, "You're a worse version of me. You've always been a worse version of me." And then they have the same face.
Yeah, I got something about all those chaos scenes because the chaos agents. I guess that's a thing from the show. I don't remember. They have like pantyhose on their head. It's like I just did not care.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I it's just because eventually when towards the end when they he faces Max, he says, "You have pantyhose on your head" or whatever, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't. The movie didn't really establish chaos as a character or a threat directly. It's kind of weird, but I don't know. Kind of fits the sitcom thing, I guess. Uh, oh, that's an interesting discussion. So what's the fun in games in the middle of the movie? This one's weird because we have Maxwell Smart fully established as an agent, so that world's from the beginning, and yeah, it was. I don't know what changed in the middle to heighten the get smartiness of the movie. I guess
Uh,
the new bomb stuff in general, or I don't know.
Fun and games is basically the whole movie. I don't know. It's just as a viewer, you expect it to be exactly like a spy movie, and then there'll be gags of some kind, be it visual, snappy dialogue,
Yeah,
hacky inventions,
but they do it from the beginning.
etc.
Yeah. Well, I guess we already know this movie's not really sticking to structure where there's going to be a big character change in Maxwell Smart or anything. So, yeah. So they just fun and games the whole movie, which is probably why it feels so tiresome and boring, is because it just does the same thing over and over again for the whole movie practically. Yeah.
Yeah, more or less.
So we'll get to the some changes, I guess. What else? Oh yeah, well, that's another weird thing. So in a typical structure, there's an obstacle that comes along and seems to take away the protagonist's joy or the protagonist's path away from them. And the only thing that happens in this movie is that he suspects there's a double agent in control, which there is. So he suspects everyone, but the movie doesn't really have him like get alienated from control or quit control. He just
No,
sort of talks out loud that he suspects a double agent.
and he puts a bomb on a they catch that they have a bomb on the plane. He waits for the to see who's not going to get on the plane for that to be the spy. It turned out to be the chief. But then the sting of that, because if the chief was his, and there's a big chase scene with the chief, and he eventually dies going over a bridge. And it would have actually carried some weight because he's a main character and he's double crossing, but he's just a clone, and the actual chief is just captured in the bad guy's lair.
Yeah, that was confusing too.
You, okay.
I thought I no, I didn't catch the clone thing again because I just got so zoned out on that movie. Sorry, but yes, that makes sense. Makes sense.
So yeah, they have a big chase where he tries to catch the chief and he dies, and they quickly move on like it has no impact. And then I can't remember exactly how he finds how they find the lair. Um,
I forgot that too. I know he got tipped off, but I don't remember.
I think the brother and sister scientists figure it out.
Yeah, which is also weird. You kind of want your hero to figure it out, but I guess that's kind of the hilarity of the show was that Maxwell's, a nice guy who does his best and often helps out, but he's not the brains behind the operation or whatever. Yeah, so many characters. So yeah, that's what pulls him out of the funk and pulls the movie into what resembles a third act because it does look different at least. That's the biggest problem with this movie is like I mentioned, so many sets are just obviously sets. They're like flat walls. Like Control has pink walls, and when he goes to Switzerland, that has blue walls, but it looks very similar. It's a lot of set. And then when we go to the big cavernous laboratory with the zipper on the hill or whatever. So that at least that's visually distinct.
It's in a volcano, I think.
Yeah. And then we're pretty much at the end of the movie because he beats the bad guy. Beats up the bad guys with by cloning himself and sort things out. And then the big structural thing is like, how has his world changed since the beginning of the movie? And the movie is so structurally weak because technically he's with sexually or at least somewhat Agent 22, but they just kiss at the end.
Yeah.
The movie ends, so it's not like a big romantic move. I guess it's James Bond esque, but usually he at least has sex with the lady.
I just said that he says that he fools around after the mission's done.
He gave a polite kiss to a woman and the movie ended. But yes,
Because the movie ends right when the mission ends.
yes, and obviously they do a turn where Maxwell solved the case, but in reality, also the last nude bomb went off. So, slight turn on expectation.
Chief calls them aftershocks or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, if I was gonna zone out on the clones, I was definitely gonna close out on aftershocks of the nude bomb. So they're naked. So you do get a payoff on the nude part. You can see a little bit of Don Adams' butt at the end, right on the hill.
I think it's pretty well covered, but yeah.
Well, they try to keep it covered, but when it goes pulls out and they're running down the hill, the picture sort of thins out a little, so you can see any Don Adams fans out there want to take a look.
It's not worth it. You have to wait till the very, you have to watch the whole movie, and at the very end, you can see
So
apparently butt crack or something.
how does the closing image lack match to the beginning image? It's basically the same. Maxwell Smart's at his job, whether it's in an airplane or naked running down a hill. This movie, in a lot of ways, shortcuts a lot of the
I
dynamics
don't
of
know.
how a movie changes from beginning to end and stuff. Like it just doesn't bother. Like a
It's
James Bond, I guess. But yeah.
Cause what does it say their names or does it say the title or the like the end on their bodies when they're running down the hill?
I think it says the end. Not even a question mark. Like Little Shop of Horrors. I was just watching a video about that. Has the end question mark? Yeah. So yeah, structurally, that movie's a piece of crap. I mean, as far as movies go, I mean, it's basically. I guess it's good that it resembles the show, but watching a 30 minutes minus commercials show and it's a feature length movie, it just doesn't work because you just get in that tedium of like this is not changing. I don't know. You just feel it in your bones.
So in terms of structure, I actually will defend it to a certain extent because a few years later, it was proven to be it could be well done because I think this film is similar plot structure-wise to Top Secret,
Mm,
but it's overall a much better movie.
Top Secret's Zucker movie, so it's like nonstop jokes and stuff. It's not that, but yeah.
It's ki- I think this attempts somewhat nonstop jokes more than you're giving it credit for.
Yeah, I guess you're
It's,
right.
they're more pedestrian than they should be.
I think the Zuckers would chafe a little under the wacky protagonist and instead want to do a straight protagonist in a wacky world kind of thing. But, yeah, yeah.
For example, in the UN scene, and this is a desperate attempt to be a throwback to the show. They're arguing so much that they give everyone the cone of silence, but then no one can hear each other. So they lift the cone of silence. It's like, yes, the cone of silence didn't work. But it's not funny because it just was a bad idea to use it, and then they stopped using it. It just could have used it in a funnier way. I don't
Yeah,
know.
the Steve Carell movie didn't have a very funny Cone of Silence joke either. I guess it seemed like such low hanging fruit that writers get anxious or something. I don't know.
Actually, was better in that movie, but I don't want to turn this podcast into a comparing those two movies because I had problems with that movie too. And I don't want to
Yeah,
all that
yeah, yeah.
all.
Yeah, I agree. Get Smart has been disappointing except for the true incarnations of the show, but yes. So now we've hashed out the structure. Time for the trivia break. All right. I should have done a quiz about Nude Bomb somehow, but instead, um, each answer will either involve the word "get" or the answer or the word "smart." Are you ready?
Ready, Chief?
Question number one. Well, I'll do the whole quiz. Uh, in what movie does Catherine Keener stir some tea with unexpected results?
Oh, Get Out.
Yes. What actress starred in Hacks and Designing Women?
I don't know about design one, but Gene Smart.
Yes. What movie stars a man named Chili who is tired of being a loan shark?
Oh, wait. Does that get Carter?
It's called Get Shorty.
Yeah.
Uh, what phrase, two words, is not actually food, but instead a clever person? Really a vague question, but whatever. Take your best shot.
Smart potato.
Smart cookie. Yeah,
That's the second worst question I've ever heard.
missed it by that much. Uh, what Beatles song is about a man who may be a woman and a guy who smokes marijuana?
Get back
Yeah, so terrible, terrible explanation of the lyrics, but technically true.
from
Uh,
Arizona.
huh?
One of those from Arizona, right?
Yeah, JoJo was a man from left his home in Tucson, Arizona, smoked some California grass. That's his story. It's
You better story, bro.
better than my stories. Okay. What grocery store with two names is built like a has a warehouse structure?
Smart and final.
Yes. What 50 Cent movie is a 50 Cent biopic no one asked for?
Get rich or die trying.
Very good. What? Okay, this one's technically also bad, but what answer that fits the theme is a popular chain of Mexican grocery stores?
Smart enchilada. I don't know.
S Mart. S Mart.
Okay, now that's the worst question I've ever heard.
Don Adams, you are drunk. All right. All right. And this time it's not the answer, it's the question for the last two. So, I mean, it's a little harder, or I guess in this case, easier than S Smart. But Rod, he hates me smart, attended Western Kentucky University. What is their mascot?
They are the Hilltoppers.
Very good. Uh, according to a 1966 Doris Day Brian Keith movie, with six you get what food item?
Smart potato. I don't know.
The movie's called With Six You Get Egg Roll.
Get egg rolls. The thing.
Yes. No, yes, the full title's with six you get egg roll. So get
Okay.
was the question, not the answer, but whatever, yeah. If you do that Don Adams impression again, I'll punch you through the screen.
I've already used it in the two ways it could be used.
Yeah, there's no other character on that show I could do an impression of really. I'm not. How's your how is your Barbara Feldon these days?
92.99.
I could kind of do a little bit of the guy the guy I said knew Charlie Chaplin talks like this, very British sounding. Yes. Okay, let's talk about the pace of the movie. It felt really slow, and yeah, the jokes livened it up a little bit, so it wasn't the most boring movie ever. It wasn't, in my opinion, as slow as the formula, but it was pretty slow, just because it was kind of flat and plotty. Obviously, yeah.
I don't know if it felt slow, but I mean, watching it, I don't know. It's trying to be a Zucker Brothers movie, but it's not as funny. And because Airplane or Top Secret or the original Naked Gun, just kind of laughing so much that feels like the perfect pace. Um, it's not the worst pace, but it I don't know. It feels like it's bad, I guess. Just commit it.
I mean,
Vaguely want to see what's gonna happen. It doesn't feel particularly. It didn't. It's in the middle. It doesn't feel fast or slow. I don't know.
yeah, I would say it was generic more than terrible, but
It's great the whole movie.
for an expectation of a comedy movie, definitely expect to be a little more like pulled out of your tedium a little more. Yeah. Originality. Uh, it was pretty tepid. As a fan of the show, you didn't get the usual escalation into a movie, but some of the jokes were okay. So I mean, it wasn't like the most unoriginal thing ever, but just yeah, execution. It just can't really say it's super original.
Yeah, I mean, it's really based on a TV show. It's not original in that way, and it's a ripoff because people who didn't work on. Well, I guess one of the guys did, like you said, but Mel Brooks and Buck Henry, the credited co-creators, were not involved in any way. Um,
And 90% of the cast. So yeah, there's not a lot of connection. Yeah, yeah.
eh, might have been more original back then with the idea of a nude bomb. Um, but there's been a lot of spy parody movies at this point. Austin Powers,
Or even
Top Secret,
Matt Helm. One of those ones with Coburn in it. It's is it Flint?
or In Like Flint, Our Man Flint.
Yeah. So yeah. So basically, once James Bond came on the scene, everyone was trying to touch upon Casino Royale, everyone's favorite.
It's another rabbit hole. Which I haven't seen that movie, but
Yeah,
never been too impressed by the bits I have seen.
I mean it's if you like big '60s movies, it's interesting. But anyway, let's talk about marketability, which we've kind of transformed into. How likely would you be to recommend this to someone? And I would just briefly say, if the movie's terrible to recommend because uh, if you're like, I'm a fan of Get Smart. I think you don't dislike it or anything. Uh,
It's fun, funny show.
it's not a great reflection of the TV show, so it's not a good recommendation for that.
No,
And in fact, I wanted to briefly mention, if I'm recommending, there's a 1990 TV movie called Get Smart Again, which got much larger percentage of the cast to come back, including Barbara Feldon, and the movie was funny. So this is not even the best cinematic, quasi-cinematic adaptation of the franchise. So no, it's not even a so bad it's good movie or anything. It's like a fine movie, but it's not great. So I wouldn't be like scared of offending someone like it's like watch this porn or something. But it's It's a fine, boring movie, so it's very hard to recommend.
The only people I could possibly recommend this for is a bizarre, sad group of people who want to watch movies that feel very 70s. Um, but even they would probably find the plot kind of boring.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be a completist for spy spoofs, watch it. But then Top Secret's a lot better. Austin Powers is a lot better. Maybe not the sequels as much, but yeah. So I don't recommend it to anyone.
All right. We're getting near the end here, but let's talk about the nominations. There was no, faux. What was I trying to say? There's no backdoor Golden Globe or Oscar category or anything for a movie like this. The only nomination it ever got that I saw was one Razzie nomination for Worst Picture, which it technically lost to Can't Stop the Music. And while Can't Stop the Music was on a technical plot, acting, everything level a million times worse than this movie, I wouldn't really defend uh, the Nude Bomb as like, oh, it shouldn't have been nominated for a Razzie. I mean, it was fairly bad or unsuccessful, so it's a fine nomination. Any other thoughts?
I don't even know how. I guess because of the Get Smart part. I imagine maybe the Razzie people were Get Smart fans, which a lot of people were, and this kind of offended them. So yeah, I guess it's a worthy nomination. I think there's enough funny gags in this, so it's not worse than Can't Stop the Music. Um,
No, we go through
so
all of them.
nomination and not winning seems appropriate, I guess.
All right. Yeah, I agree. Honestly, it should have been nominated. I'll stand up for it that much. It's not good, but it's not like so bad it's good or anything. But yeah,
That's what it's kind of getting at. It kind of should have just been forgotten. That's what it feels.
Get Smart Universe definitely did. Yeah. So I'll let you go first, but whatever you want to say about the movie, and then a score on what I guess we do out of 10. You can do it if you want to do a different scale. You could. But
The only other gag I thought was funny, but again, it just passes really quickly. You really gotta recommend. Only it costs $3. It's not worth spending for this. But fast forward to the part where they meet Siegel, and they do the ambulance morgue thing. Where call the a- should I call the ambulance? Or should I call the morgue? And then
oh yeah, I remember that joke. Yeah, that was good.
and then the helicopter that what's the I can't remember the invention guy's name is makes Carruthers I think. Uh, it's called the shush copter, and it's literally helicopter goes shush as part of its turning around the road.
Yeah, that was a funny premise, and the noise was annoying.
Yeah, so it's overall, there's funnier. Should probably just watch Naked Gun again instead of watching this or Top Secret or any other spoof movies. Well, maybe not the epic movie and that crap, but there are worse spoof movies than this, but there's certainly lots better. So, a very forgettable 4.5 out of 10.
Yeah. So per usual, I try to bring in an outside review, usually from Siskel and Ebert, and Ebert did not have a listed review of this movie. Gene Siskel did, and I mostly agree with what he said that it's a kind of movie that's not very funny. Um, the naked people bomb doesn't make a lot of sense, and I thought the movie, I don't know, it sounds like I just wanted to see more naked bodies, but as a plot point, they didn't really pay it off in a way that justified itself. That makes sense. And yeah, it felt like the. And I know we can't disagree because of the James Bond thing and stuff, but in my opinion, kind of feels like a TV show that got stretched into a movie, and the structure suffered as a result. And I think my biggest takeaway is there's me and you've watched a lot of comedies where long term you kind of think, oh, that was just okay, but in the theater there's this one big joke they do at the end where you're like, wow, that one part was good, and it kind of saves the comedy movie. And this movie sort of like squeezes in little dialogue here and there and tries to be funny, and then the movie ends and it's not satisfying, and it feels oddly unfunny but not like dramatic. So I don't know. I feel like my scores are all over the place. In my notes, I wrote 1 out of 10. That's probably ridiculous, but I wouldn't want to watch it again or talk about it ever again. So, like, more realistically, it's like a traditional 5. I saw what they were doing. Wasn't for me. Also tough.
Muscle tough.
So before we go, time for Marcus's favorite game. Guess the next movie. Right. So this movie is not famous enough to give minor clues. So first big clue: it's an adventure film starring Jason Robards and Sir Alec Guinness, and it is based on a Clive Cussler bestseller.
If I can name any Clive Cussler books, that would be a good start. The Climbing the Mountaintop, because that's clearly a book title. I'm not making it up.
Next clue: this movie is not directed by James Cameron. Wink, wink.
What would James Cameron do that other people might do? Um,
You're on the right track.
what's Avatar or fine, something with avatars. I don't know.
This movie is not set in 1912. Wink, 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 wink.
It's just called Titanic. I don't know.
Close enough. It's called The Raise the Titanic,
Hmm.
and it's available on Tubi. And
Finally, a free one. It's been a while.
like I said, it's an adventure film, so I think it's supposed to be exciting. This one has a pretty bad. This one has a pretty bad historical reputation. I mean, it's a Razzie nominee, so it's not going to be like whatever. But yeah.
Oh, by the way, I don't think it's the best Star Wars movie we've seen.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Uh,
that too. I agree. It sits comfortably in the middle. Although I don't know, it's about as boring as my least favorite, which was the formula. But it's probably slightly humorous, so it's yeah, better. But yeah,
I'll say Xanadu and its all of its whimsy is the best one still, and which probably contradicts previous podcasts. I think I did say something else was better than that, but uh, I think I've changed my mind. I think Formula is worse than Can't Stop the Music now, so we agree on that at least.
yeah. We don't agree on best because Cruising is one of my favorite movies. Unironically, I've seen this year or whatever. So yeah, but yeah, we'll talk about Raise the Titanic. It's gonna be dull because it's a Razzie movie. I would expect, right? Will they raise the Titanic? Find out next week on Twin Bill. DJ Cal. Stop! I have to stop doing that for as a tag for this entire show. DJ Jason. All right, there we go. Book me on your shows, or let's be best friends and hang out. Maybe I don't know.